Chapter 32 of the prayer. There were sharp rocks at the bottom of the cliff. As he prepared to jump, Claudius wondered how much it would hurt, or if he would even have time to hurt. The crime he would execute himself for was great, the murder of his own children. He spent his days eating little, drifting in and out of sleep. The hours he spent asleep were haunted by little girls playing, laughing, crying. They always wanted to speak to him, to come to him, but they could not, and he could not go near them. There was an invisible wall of sorts between them, a wall that can never be broken. On his side of the wall, there were always thousands of disembodied fingers pointing at him. Killer, one would whisper. His own daughters, another would sigh. Sent away his wife and son, you know, another would mention casually. Even that was better when he was awake. Nobody seemed to understand what he had done. When he told others, they never understood. What's so wrong with that? They would say, or perhaps, it's not uncommon. Or, I wouldn't leave out all my daughters. Personally, I wouldn't leave out any of them. I love my daughters, but that's just me. No contempt for you. Or, I do it. Who needs all those girls? Or sometimes, you did the right thing, getting rid of your wife like that. No room in Rome for disobedient wives. Boy, sounds just as bad. He knew what he did was wicked. Why did they assure him it wasn't? And they called him crazy. He wasn't crazy. Nobody would punish him. So he would have to do it. Claudius closed his eyes and got ready to plunge into the swirling sea when he heard the tragic wailing of a little girl. That was nothing new, but no, this was real. He was sure of it. Perhaps it wasn't Claudius's business, but he followed the sound, down the shore and to another cliff. There was a little girl, a real one, with long, rain-soaked, dark brown hair. She was curled into a tiny ball, rocking back and forth, shaking with cold and grief. Why are you crying? Claudius grumbled awkwardly. Where are your parents? The little girl looked up. Her huge, terrified eyes were hazel green. She didn't speak. She just looked at Claudius as if he had hit her and then buried her face in her arms. Claudius glanced at the ocean for a moment. A mast and sail were jutting out from under the sloshing water. Hadn't Claudius caused enough tears? Was it not his duty to wipe some away? He crouched next to the little girl. She didn't look at him. Made sense. Claudius wouldn't want to look at his ugly face either. We're going to find you a home, all right? She didn't respond. Claudius hesitated a moment before picking up the little girl. She didn't put up a fight, but only continued crying. Claudius went from door to door, looking for a nice couple who would care for the child. Nobody would. Claudius sat down. Now what? Isn't it obvious? The little voice in his head sounded just like his wife's. You'll take care of the little girl. Claudius shook his head. No. There was no way. The idea of Claudius taking care of a little girl was idiotic. Look what he had done to his own children. This little girl's gone, dead, because of him, and him alone. He'd been so cold and so heartless. His mind wandered to Minerva, his beautiful wife. So passionate and intelligent she was. And his son Rufus, brave, intelligent Rufus, the ideal son, the ideal apprentice. And Claudius had thrown it all away. The voice of the little girls were back. They always came back. Daddy? Claudius had spent sleepless nights deliriously trying to wash their blood from his hands. It would never wash off. He scrubbed until it was his own blood on his hands, but it never made a difference. Of course it wouldn't come back. There was nothing he could do to change what he did. Daddy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 daughters. Claudius had 12 daughters. He had killed 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. He had tried to kill 12. He had killed 11. 11 daughters. But there was that one man. Claudius had saved his daughter. That, of course, didn't make up for what he'd done to his own, but why had he done that? Was it possible that he could, in some sense, make up for what he'd done? Perhaps he didn't have to be a monster? His own voice rang in his head. I will never be that man, but you still can be. His father, gentle but strong, a farmer, told too many jokes, loved to laugh, loved his children, loved his wife, loved his parents. Claudius was in a way relieved that his father had not lived to see his madness, his obsession, his thirst for blood, for power. He killed his own daughters. Again, his mind raced back to that little girl he had saved months ago. Claudius knew that there was nothing in him that was not evil, so why had he done that? Was there something in him that wasn't a monster? That wasn't evil? Could he save this little girl like he'd saved that one? Claudius knelt beside her. She had long since run out of tears. Her red eyes had a hollowness in them that no child should ever have. It's my fault, she whispered. Believe me, it isn't. No, they said that they would never leave me because I'm a good girl. You are, Claudius rasped. He didn't know her, obviously, but she seemed like a sweet child. If I were a good girl, they wouldn't have gone away. Claudius was startled by this ridiculous line of reasoning. It struck him that he didn't know the first thing about how children thought. Look, sometimes the things that happen, and nobody can control them. Claudius desperately wanted to change the subject. What's your name? Diana. That's a pretty name. Claudius didn't really know how to talk to children, but that seemed like a nice thing to say. Besides, it was a pretty name. I'm really sorry about what happened. Will I ever see them again? Claudius shrugged. He had no idea what happened to mortals after death. Sure you will. Diana sniffed. Really? Absolutely. Why? She didn't explain what she meant by why, but Claudius thought he understood. I don't know. There was a long pause. So, would you like to live with me? Obviously, that was a stupid question. Nobody with a speck of sanity would want to live with Claudius. But what could he do? She had to live somewhere. Yes, please. What? What on earth did the little urchin trust him so quickly? Could it be? Could it be the gods had given him a second chance? Yes. He would do everything he could to be the perfect father. He would find a real job. He would put her needs above his own. He would support her the best he could. He would never hurt her. He would do what was best for her. It was like a great cloud had lifted off Claudius, though the storm was as strong as ever. He had a feeling he wouldn't be hearing those voices anymore. All that would matter was to him from now on was Diana. Come on, let's get you by a fire, he told the little girl, who hadn't even seemed to notice how soaking wet she was. He couldn't let her get sick. She was his responsibility now, and he vowed to love her more than himself and all of Rome. End of chapter 32 of the prayer.